Yeah, it's me again. Now, I want to introduce the man I was talking about. A real American. We should really take something from his gene pool and put it everywhere across this great country. A real American hero, my friend, Allen West.
Thank you. Thank you. First and foremost, do we have any soldiers that are in the audience here today? Okay, all you soldiers stand up, because I know a lot of people talk about today being Flag Day. Today is the 238th birthday of the greatest army that the world has ever known, your United States Army. Thanks to each and every one of you. Now, the theme for this conference, this gathering, is building a conservative pro-family majority. And I think that's so important, because what really has built this great nation, what really helped us to expand westward, it were families. Families that were loaded up in wagons, families that crossed the Great Divide, families that met all of the challenges, met all of the adversities with perseverance, resilience, and resolve. And if we are not careful, we will lose the essence of who we are, that strength of the family. So I want to take a few moments to talk to you from experience. And, you know, Gary Bauer kind of stole a little bit of what I want to say, but I want to expand upon that. Because if we do not learn from the lessons of what has happened in the black family, then what will happen to the United States of America? Because we can only be as great as the sum of all of our parts. When I think about the fact I grew up in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia, the same neighborhood where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. grew up, when I go back to that neighborhood, I see a shell of itself. When I think about this program that was supposed to be on television called My Baby's Mamas, where we were going to celebrate a gentleman that had, countless children from countless amounts of women. When I think about the report that just came out recently about a black gentleman that has fathered some 22 children from 17 different women. These are the unintended consequences. These are the second and third order effects of Lyndon Johnson's Great Society program and the war on poverty, when he came out and said, if you just give a woman a check for having children out of wedlock, for not having a father in the home, then you will be helping her. He took a great program that was intended for widows and for orphans, and he expanded it. If we're not careful with the progressive socialist program that they have to destroy our inner cities, to destroy and break down the family, then guess what you get? My wife, Angela, and I represent that which is 29% in the black community right now. Only 29% of black children have mother and father in the home. That is not the black community that I grew up in, and that is not the strength of a community who has survived so many great hardships and adversities. It was all about the family. So consider this. How many young black children will be able to celebrate Father's Day this coming Sunday? How many young black children will be able to think about the great successes that they could have growing up in the greatest nation that this world has ever known? How many black children will miss out on having that role model? That is why we must have strong conservative values to strengthen the family in the United States of America. When you look at the unemployment situation in the black community today, almost 14% reported unemployment. Almost 33% black teenager unemployment. All you have to do is look at Detroit. Some of you, maybe you'll leave this beautiful hotel where you're having this conference and go into some of the black neighborhoods here in Washington, D.C., and see the decimation of the progressive socialist policies that have broken down the family unit in what used to be the strongest family community that this country ever knew. If you go back and read the early writings of a great man that I think is the first black conservative, Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington's program was based upon three things. It was based upon education, entrepreneurship and self-reliance. But if you understand what is happening in the black community when it comes to education, we have failing schools. And don't forget that one of the first things that President Obama did when he came into office back in January, February of 2009, he canceled the DC school voucher program. And no one challenged him on that. No one said anything about that. But at least the House Republicans tried to restore that program. Because as Booker T. Washington said, the first and most important thing is the education. And if we break down the family where you don't have mothers and fathers in the home, if you take away the ability to have education, then guess what also happens? You lose that sense of entrepreneurship. I grew up in Atlanta where I could walk down Auburn Avenue, walk past Ebenezer Baptist Church, and I could see black entrepreneurship. I could see doctors' offices, lawyers' offices. I could see professionals. I could see banks and things of that nature. What do you see now? It's a shell of itself. You see boarded up buildings. If we cannot get economic success back into the black community, you will continue to see Detroit. It was in the Reagan administration, now deceased member of Congress, Jack Kemp, and Reagan's economic advisor, Art Laffer, talked about urban economic empowerment zones. But yet, we don't hear anyone talking about that. And if we don't have that sense of entrepreneurship, then you don't have that sense of self-reliance. And if you don't have that sense of self-reliance, if you don't have individual sovereignty, then you have expansive growth of government. You don't have fiscal responsibility. So why is it so important that we have a conservative agenda that is pro-family? Because it is in keeping with our values as conservatives of limited government, of fiscal responsibility, of individual sovereignty, of the free marketplace. And then, of course, as we gave homage to these soldiers today, for 238 years, we must continue to defend that which is the greatest in this entire world, this constitutional republic that we call home. If we don't take that message to every single corner, to every single community, then we're going to lose this great nation. So we can sit here in this great hotel and talk about pro-family agenda. We can talk about conservative values. Some people will say that I'm preaching to the choir. Now, this is my challenge to you. Go out and sing solo. If you don't go out and sing this song, if you don't go out and take this message, the other side will take their message. The fact that now we're about to embark upon an illegal immigration and amnesty bill which will further exacerbate the problems in our minority communities, especially in the black community, where we see such rampant unemployment, when we see such loss of hope and promise. You know, my Bible in Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 5 talks about trials and tribulation, how it produces perseverance, and perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. But it is hope in God. Unfortunately, there are some people in this country who put all their hope in one man, and they've been let down. Take this message about the pro-family. Take this message about the growth of the family, the strength of the family, our conservative values all across this great nation, or else the future of America will be much the same as what we see in the inner cities. That, to me, ladies and gentlemen, is unacceptable, and failure is not an option. God bless you all, and God thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Beverly Owensby, Chief Development Officer of the Palladian View.